Top 10 worst countries in the world. 10th place. Ukraine was left at what no country where overnight a more or less normal life turned into a maid is simply impossible. I'm going to get into politics, arguing who's right and who's wrong. Let's look only at the facts and at life of the common people in the country now. Complete __. If I used to know a little, Ukrainians live that way. If not better, certainly not worse than most Russians. Now they want to get away from here. The absolute majority, even those who live far away from the hostilities, people left out of work because many of them they cooperated with Russia and Belarus. I myself had Ukrainian employees to whom I couldn't even send payment. The money just froze, even though the transfer was from a Polish bank. But the main thing is that you can hardly live peacefully knowing that on your house a shell can come at any moment, only thanks to the fact that not all of Ukraine razed to the ground, and part of the population sees the war mostly on. I give it 10th place, and I really hope it doesn't go any higher in our infernal ranking, because no matter how, whatever you want to call it, it's the closest country to us geographically and emotionally, and we care about the Ukrainians a lot more than for some series. By the way, they are 9th. Syria is a long-suffering country in which America is valiantly trying to instill democracy, the most beautiful ancient state of the world's most ancient Damascus. It's very sad that the modern history of Syria is a far cry from its former glory and greatness, and the monuments of antiquity are ruthlessly destroyed in the war. But what the hell with them, the monuments are more pitiful than the people of Syria can't boast beautiful life. You're complaining about missing Apple Pay or Netflix, a series, and for a long time have been living without access to the world's internet and are stubbornly going back to the medieval times. A girl here can easily be stoned to death for having sex before marriage. There are fewer and fewer educated people, less and less. 8th place. Yemen is a very poor Asian country with the worst economy ever. __. Is that there's been a civil war going on here since 2014. Civil wars going on similar to the modern Ukraine. Yemen, it's right next to the rich developed countries, and I'm in the middle of the day, and I hope at least our neighbors don't face starvation, because in Yemen 80,000 children have died of starvation over 80,000 children have died in 3 years. You have to admit that it's scary to hear about this in the 21st century. As far as I'm concerned, people here have nothing to do but wage war. Soldiers even take children, and women have no rights. No rights at all. No agriculture, no manufacturing, no mining. There's absolutely nothing here that could do anything to save the situation. The internal war is being waged mostly on old Soviet and US machinery from World War to World War II. 7th place. Bangladesh is the main problem here. Population density, the country as the same tiny, and 20 million more people live than in Russia. And that doesn't even include children. They simply don't register them until they are 10 years old. Why? Few people grow up anyway, and there is no reason for that when very few people grow up anyway. Peculiarities: the place is not very pleasant, and the population density is off the charts because every man has several wives, and each wife has 4 or 5 or more. The children of Bangladesh are constantly floods because of the flooding of the rivers, which not only the people drown, but also naturally the plants that they have planted without a harvest. Famine sets in, and the fruits and vegetables that have survived are poisoned with arsenic. The reason is that this element, there's too much of it in the soil here, and for some reason people haven't figured out how to solve the problem. They haven't figured out how to solve the problem. Madagascar is the one from the cartoon. Only the cartoon animals live there, but not so much for the people, and it is not clear why Georgia makes good money on tourists who can make good money, and the climate allows to grow fruits, vegetables, and spices. Only people die in flocks from malaria, and it is Madagascar. Malaria is not treated with any of existing medicines, and it's very easy to get infected, and it's very easy to get it from just one bite of a mosquito, which is and they're not afraid of sprays. There's also the plague, which the civilized world seems to have had forgotten, so tourists don't really to see a unique island. You never know when a plague is going to break out. Another epidemic will break out in the 5th place of Guinea. It's only a relatively short time ago